Welcome back to the vlog. If it is your first time here, hello everybody, I'm Sam with 2 M's and I'm so happy and grateful that you stumbled upon my little corner here on the internet. But as you can see from today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of the books, actually it's all of the books I have read in 2023 so far. If you've been subscribed to my channel for quite some time, you know that I love to read. Every now and then I like to share some book recos or current reads that I have, and I've also done some book vlogs in the past as well, so we're gonna revive that. Since we're already halfway through 2023, I want to share with you guys some of the books that I read. And it's so crazy to me because this year, in general, I felt like I was having a very slow and bad reading year as compared to 2022, where I think I read more than 20 books last year, and that's a lot coming from 5 in the year of 2021, which is so crazy. As I was compiling all the books that I read this year, I actually read a lot, quite a lot, more than 10, and it's only been 6.5 months into 2023. So for this video, I'm gonna share with you guys each of the books I've read this year in the order that I read them. And I'm also gonna rate them, give you a little synopsis, but no spoilers, so you can still enjoy the reading process if you haven't read those books. So I have a mix of physical books, but also books that I read on my Kindle. For the first book that I read this year, I actually read it on my Kindle, and that is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. And I actually started reading this last year, so if you were to ask me last year what I would give it was a 3.5, but since I finished it this year, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. And I don't know why I started reading it last year but couldn't get myself to finish it, but when I started reading it again this year, I was like really into it. And part of the reason why is because of the characters. I love the characters of this book. They just speak to me on this like unexplainable level. But basically this whole story is about this girl. Her name is Nora. She is a literary agent, and all her life she was never really like the main character of her own story, which is why her sister somehow convinces her to go on a girls trip to this like random town called Sunshine Falls, which is really small. And for some reason in that town she runs into this guy. His name's Charlie, who she doesn't really get along with, but they do know of each other, and they kind of have like this rivalry, like weird tension going on. So you guys can already imagine where this story is gonna go. Sorry, that's my dog's ball. And yeah, basically it revolves around that and Nora's relationships with herself, her sister, Charlie, and just everything going on in her life, and her becoming like the main character of her story. And I think it's such a good book. So I love this whole main character energy thing. I feel like a lot of us need that kind of wake-up call that we definitely have to be the main character of our own story, and we can't just be like side characters in somebody else's story. So I really resonated with that. Then the next book that I read is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It is part of her whole like book universe, and that is Carrie, Soto is Back. I also read that on my Kindle, and I'm rating it a 5 out of 5 stars for a couple of reasons. Honestly, because I'm so heavily invested in the TJR universe, I feel like I have more attachment to these stories more than any other book that I've read of hers. But Carrie, Soto is Back is one of my favorite ones that she's written because I love tennis. I love watching tennis. I play tennis, and basically this whole story revolves around Carrie Soto, who is this amazing tennis player, and she retired from being a tennis player at her prime, and then sometime in the future she's watching a tournament. She can feel and see her record being taken away from her, and she makes a monumental decision to come back to tennis. So it revolves around her determination, her courage, her strength, and even her attitude into coming back as one of the elder players. And it's so good. I couldn't put it down. I love this book so much. Definitely one of my favorite books, because like I said, I love tennis, but you don't really necessarily have to love tennis. And I feel like her story really inspired me to be better, not just at tennis, but in many aspects of my life. So I love this book so much. Then after that book, I read Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, which has been a book on my to-be-read list for so long, and I finally did it this year, and I'm rating it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really love this kind of story because it revolves around Macy and Elliot, who were childhood friends and somewhere in between have lost touch, and by a chance encounter they see each other again, and at this point, like in their adulthood, they're basically strangers to each other, and slowly but surely they kind of not repay pair, but they try to build their relationship again, and they find out why they lost touch over the years. And I feel like we have people like this in our lives. The characters are also very lovable in this story, and I really enjoyed reading this book, so 4 out of 5 stars. Now the fourth book I read this year, also on my Kindle, is Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but I am rating it a 4 out of 5 stars as well. And this book, I read it because I love the movie so much. Call Me By Your Name is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I still listen to the soundtrack until this very day. And that's why I really wanted to read the book, because a lot of people said that you can feel the emotions even more. They're like more fleshed out in the book, and that's exactly what I saw and felt. The only reason I didn't rate it a 5 out of 5 stars is, I don't know, maybe I just really enjoyed the movie more than I did the book. It took me a while to finish the book. I think because for some parts it did feel very dragged on, but it was so beautifully written. It felt so, I don't know, raw to me, and I really appreciated that. I'm happy that I read it, but I do love the movie more. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's just my opinion though. Next. And then the fifth book I read this year is Breasts and Eggs by Mieko Kawakami, and I rate this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I love the way this book is written. It's both funny but also very much real, and this is a little bit different from the kind of books that I like to read. But this year I kind of really switched up the genres that I've been reading, and it talks a lot about the experience of being a woman in society, like body autonomy and what it's like being childless in society. All of these insecurities and fears that women have, I think is so perfectly written into this book, and how these 3 different women experience it in their own ways. And I feel like it speaks to a lot of women. Actually, if you read on Goodreads, a lot of the people who rated it low were men. Well, the ones that I saw at least, so I don't know. But to me, it really was an interesting read, and kind of really affirmed the fact that as a woman, we do have these struggles in society that obviously men don't experience, and I thought that was very interesting. So, and the 6th book that I read this year was actually Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm rating this a 5 out of 5 stars. This is by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and just a disclaimer, I actually listened to the audiobook last year, because the audiobook in my opinion is much better than the book, because this book is made for that. It's more of documentary style, like dialogue, and the audiobook is just perfect for it. But I did read the book because the series came out this year on Amazon Prime. I really wanted to read the book again, but I didn't want to listen to the audiobook again, so I got the physical copy and read the book again in companion with watching the series off of Amazon Prime, which I love so much as well. I think they casted everybody so well, but that's for a different video. This book revolves around this band, which is called Daisy Jones and the Six, and they were like the most popular band in the 70s, and after a sold-out tour, they just kind of like disbanded and took a hiatus. This book documents their journey and also why all of those things happened. So I love this book so much. It has a lot of drama as well, so if you guys are into that, definitely pick this up. Then the 7th book I read this year, actually reread this year, is one of my favorite books of all time, and that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I read this when I was in college for the first time, and I just really wanted to reread it because I watched the movie and it reminded me so much of how much I loved this book when I was in college. So I picked up my own copy because I remember then that was my mom's book that I read, which is somewhere in storage right now. So I picked up my own copy, and I thought it was so cute. Like, it has scissors, so if you read the book, you know what the scissors symbolize. But I love this book so much. It revolves around the March sisters, kind of just like their life story, and I feel like at this point in my life, this book has become even more relevant because I can see myself in each of the sisters, and it revolves around themes of family, love, fears, all of these things that make it so human, and definitely one of my favorite books of all time. That's why it's called a classic, obviously. So definitely a 5 out of 5 stars for me. Then this year I also went and did a crazy feat for myself. I read 5 out of the 7 Harry Potter books in the span of probably 2 weeks, which is so crazy coming from me as somebody who did not grow up watching Harry Potter, as somebody who avoided Harry Potter at all costs when I was younger. I read the first 5, and the story of that is because I was in the Bangkok airport and I finished reading the book that I was reading, and I was like, I don't want to be on a flight for 3 hours and not read. So I wanted to pick up a book at the airport, and there was nothing that I really wanted, and I was like, should I pull the trigger and start reading Harry Potter, because the video game came out this year, and I said I can't play the video game if I don't appreciate the story in general. So I pulled the trigger and fell in love with Harry Potter, which if you ask anybody who knows me, they're gonna be like, I can't believe you actually did that, because all my life I was avoiding Harry Potter. Oh my god, this is so funny. So if you open up my book, in the first one, you can see my ticket that I took from Bangkok where I bought this book. But anyway, I don't want to fully rate all of these books, but I would just in general give this whole series a 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know, I love it so much. I grew up loving fantasy, but I really don't know why I never picked up Harry Potter as a kid. I was more into Percy Jackson because I'm really into mythology and all of that, so I didn't really think Harry Potter was for me. And I also played the video game this year, and I love this series so much. I would say Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire are two of my favorites. I do love all of this, and I haven't had time to finish the last two just yet, but 5 out of 5 stars. I'm sure it's not gonna disappoint. And I love how over time you see how Harry and all of his friends grow wiser, they become more bold, courageous, and also how the series gets darker more and more throughout the year. So very interesting. So I'm very proud of myself that I was able to do that. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars for me. And the most recent book that I finished this year is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. So this one I am rating a 5 out of 5 stars because I love this book so much. It basically revolves around these two friends, best friends rather. We have Sam and Sadie, who venture out into creating video games, and I thought that was really interesting. As somebody who loves video games too, I thought it was very interesting to read a novel about it, and the way that this portrays friendship, love, grief, and just everything in life is so beautiful and so realistic at the same time that I think it was a novel that I really needed to read at this point in my life, because I am growing up and certain things in my life are changing, but some things are still very much the same. So I don't know, I feel like I resonated with that and the journey of the characters in this book. And all of the characters in this book I'm so attached to. Like, I love each and every one of them, even though some of them, well, actually most of them are also very annoying. I love them so much. So this is definitely one of my favorite books that I read this year. So that rounds up all of the books that I read this year. I think I read around 12 to 13 books this year, which is so crazy because I thought I was having a slow book year, but apparently not. So go me. If you guys have any book recommendations that, you know, weren't included here, let me know in the comments down below. And also if you do enjoy book videos from me, let me know as well. I enjoy doing them. Yeah, that should be it for today's video. Let me know down below also in the comments how many books you've read this year, and also any of the book recommendations that you have for me. Maybe I can include them in a future book video as well. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe and turn on the notifications so you get notifications when I do upload more videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye! So I actually shot that video a couple of days ago, but I'm back on here to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a little giveaway to celebrate half of 2023 being done and dusted, and I'm going to be giving away one of the books that I mentioned in today's video to one lucky winner. So all you have to do to join this giveaway is to comment down below what has been your favorite book or read so far in 2023, and I will choose a random winner in the next couple of vlogs. So you guys have to follow me on Instagram here so that you know when I'll be announcing and picking a winner. And this giveaway is actually open to anybody who's living in the Philippines. So yeah, I can't wait to celebrate more of 2023 with all of you, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you in our next vlogs. Thank you!